Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus King Sun Kiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, certainly, for a relaxed review and commentary of for the Bernie Mac Show, Season 1, Episode 11, honey. Pardon my delay. All right. But you know what they say? Better late than never is what they say. Yes, God. And I appreciate y'all's patience. And now, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the specificities of this, not a reading, this episode, honey. So, this episode is called The King and I. So, we got a lot of different themes going on when it comes to royalty, power, grace, balance, mastery, all that. And I ain't gonna waste no more time. Gonna go ahead and get right into the cricks and crannies of the story of it all. So we open up, of course, like usual, at least most of the times, honey, with a lovely confessional from Bernie. And he is just basking in his lap of luxury of feeling like the king. You know what I'm saying? You know he a king of comedy. All right. And he also takes that everywhere with him that he go, that he is a king of wherever he is. Okay. So definitely that reigns true at the house. At least that's what he thinks. That's what he want to think. That's what he feel like he know and what he want to know. You feel me? So as he's here running down off all the things, he goes down the list of his royal court. Starting off with his queen, who y'all know is Aunt Wanda. Okay, Aunt Wanda come on in and she do her royal bow. They all bringing him in different parts of his food. Look like some McDonald's. Look like it might be some McDonald's or something. But they bringing in different articles of his meal. So Wanda brought the whole plate with the entree and the drink. Brought it out, kneeled it on down to him, you know what I'm saying? Respectfully, submissively. So perhaps. But nah, I do feel like Wanda is submissive in a good sense, not subservient. A lot of people don't be understanding that there is a difference between submissive and subservient. They be being subservient and they be thinking that it's submissive, and it ain't. That's why it pays to read stuff yourself. But y'all, so after Wanda is the princess. As we proceed to give you R&B, mother, because what you need and what you need is the princess. Okay, if you know, you know. And so that princess is baby girl. And she comes in with what she have? Some napkins. She brought him some napkins, honey, and she did a cute little curtsy. And the napkin she brought specifically was a napkin to go over his lap, you know, up under the plate and everything. Make sure he don't drop nothing on himself. All that good stuff. Extra protection. So then he talk about his raw food. He got to list off his raw food. Come on out, fooling around, honey, fooling around. He brings the straw for the drink, and he don't blow the air. You know how they blow the air through the straw to get the paper off. He blew it in Bernie's face. Blew the paper off the straw in Bernie's face, claiming his role with full commitment. So then he must introduce his royal pain in the ass, which is really who more so this episode is centered around. And I don't feel like Nelsa is a pain in the ass. Bernie just got control issues. So that's a pain in the ass for him. But she come in with fries. Well, what used to be the fries and what is being transmuted into fuel. Okay, for her. Because she's walking in, eating the fries, complaining about the fries, saying that the fries cold. Meanwhile, she is elbow deep, all up in the car, and even as she's handing it to him, steady taking the rest of the fries up out of there. So tisk. Maybe he should have gave that task to somebody else. He should have just had all the whole meal. Okay, the burger and the fries come out with Wanda if he wanted to eat them fries. Well, you know, hey, I feel like it is what it is. I do want to point out some symbolism though. I want to point out some symbolism. So remember how I said I don't think Nelsa is really a pain in the ass. I think her being hard to control is a pain in the ass for him. Meanwhile, baby girl is considered the princess. Okay, of course she all small and cute and shit, and also at an age where she's easier to impress, she's easier to influence, therefore easier to control in a lot of ways. Okay, I ain't saying overall because toddlers be tolerant. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. Emphasis on she's easy to impress and influence. Okay, makes a major difference. Now, Jordan child. I feel like Jordan is getting the full label. One, he is a jokester, he is a prankster, and all of that. But also because Jordan is not in the quote unquote masculine form that he expects and wants, and it's very difficult, damn near impossible for him to mold Jordan in that way, which also essentially makes him harder to control. That is foolish to him. Therefore, it's easier to just laugh him off and or overlook him in a serious sense. Overlook him when it comes to things that are practical and or like I said, more serious. So taking Jordan for a joke, when in actuality, the stuff that Jordan be into he really has the potential to be a very brilliant individual. Jordan is one of them people you really have to pour into when they're young and nurture and care for. He requires a lot of patience and shit because if you don't, he could easily become somebody who is manufacturing explosives in his room. You feel me? So you rather him manufacture at least video games like Grand Theft Auto or something, where there are explosives within the game, but it's a simulation, as opposed to pour into him what would lead him to be, someone of the village that facilitates burning it down, not only to feel its warmth, but to entertain himself. And I think it's interesting the separation of the royal fool and the royal pain in the ass, because in a lot of cases they would be considered the same person, and which, with that, symbolism, quote, and analogy and whatnot that I just gave, Nessa is more so the one that, if you don't handle her right, she could more so end up being the child that burns the village down for the sake of feeling this warmth, period. So as we proceed to give you R&B, mother, it's what you need, and what you need it's the rest of the show. Okay, let's get it. All right, so as we officially get into the scenes, we get Barney walking out. He is seeing baby girl and Jordan sitting on the couch watching TV and whatnot past their bedtime. So he getting on their ass like, what y'all doing? I thought I told y'all to go to bed. Okay, what is happening? We in here watching cartoons? Cartoons in your dreams. Night night. Okay, Nick at night. Get it how you live. So they is like, of course, protesting as kids do. They ain't trying to hear it. But he have to put his foot down. He got to get the grumbling, rumbling stuff. All that grumpy old man shit. Like a pit bull. Can you wobble and shake like a pit bull? Can you lock your jaws and shake like a pit bull? Yes. So that's what he got to do. He got to wobbling and shaking and locking his jaws like a pit bull. Getting them to go to bed, Joseph. Go to bed. So he like, and what I got to do to get these kids to do what I say the first time, stand on my head or something. So then we flash on over to Nessa literally standing on her head. Symbolisms of balance as well as mastery. Just hold that thought. So we got a young Brenda song, all right, playing one of Nessa's friends. Okay, good to see her. What's good? What's good, London Tipton, aka also now married to Macaulay Culkin. Yes, God, how cute, how cute. So yeah, her and I don't know what Brenda Song's character's name is, but Nessa's friend, they in there talking about gymnastics and gymnastics practice and all of that. Nessa is kind of doubting herself and feeling like maybe she's not skilled enough to actually try out. You're like, she can do a couple of things, she got some raw talent. And young London Tipton, that's gonna be her name for now. Young London Tipton is like, girl, you got better raw talent than some of the skilled girls do. So what you mean? Come on through and be the queen. Okay, the crew needs a queen. Now, right in the midst of this here, the daggone little monsters come on in, blowing up the spots, being weird, being buggy, pissy, annoying. And Nessa's throwing stuff at them like, get out, I have company. Like, what are you doing? I can't even have 1 minute to myself, like, ever. Every time I look around, you're bugging me. Every time I see your face, you're bugging me. When you're standing at the door, you're bugging me. You're bugging me. You're bugging me. You make me want to throw out my pager, cut my phone off, break my lease so I can move. Cause you a bugger, a bugger, a bugger, boo. And she tell them, get out. They talking about, Barney said go to bed. She said, I said what I said, okay? Barney ain't running Nathaniel. Look at me, look at me. I'm the captain now. Go watch TV. And so they catch that flash and they go ahead and they follow their lead. All right. Now, they's out there back into the basics of their action. Now, Pete, when Bernie comes into the scene, I recognize he's holding a plate of chips or popcorn or Chex Mix or whatever it is, clearly prepared to come, have a moment alone on the couch and watch his shows or his stories or whatever it is that he's gonna sit down and watch and chill and kicking this and that. Ain't no wrong with it. Ain't no wrong with it. I just noticed some things, but I'm gonna stick a pin in it right quick, right fast, okay? So he comes in and he like, hey, I told y'all to go to bed, Joseph. And they said, well, Vanessa said we could stay up. And he like, excuse moi? What is Vanessa supposed to be running? Okay, you got to the count of three till I snap y'all into a Slim Jim. So in the midst of all of this going on, Nelsa is seeing her friend out, and her friend is telling her, just come to practice tomorrow. And plus, you make the team, it's a way that you can have some extracurricular activities to keep you extra at this house, have some alone time, free time, individuality of it all. So she like, all right, it seemed like a go. She get back in, and Bernie is fussing, of course, because he like, huh, I hear tell, word on the curb, you was undermining my authority. I told them to go to bed, Joseph, and here you are, going on the back end, telling them something different. Mm, mm. And Nelson is like, honestly, sir, it would serve you better to just let them stay up until they fall asleep naturally on the couch and then pick them up and carry them to bed. It could all be so easy, but you'd rather make it hard. So, um, she got a slight point. She got a slight point. Okay. So she like, you do all this every night, ripping and running, locking your jaw, shaking and baking and wobbling, break it like a pit bull for Nathaniel. For what? For what? To keep having to do the same thing back over, just wasting your energy. So is it really serving you? Is it really working? Or do you just like to hear yourself? She like, baby, you should thank me. Okay? Because I'm the one that's up here helping you out, keeping you afloat while you drive the boat, honey. Show some gratitude. So Bernie ain't trying to hear none of that mess. None. Nathaniel. He said, I make the rules, and that's on period. I give the orders, and that's on period, without any carried out interference from you. And he turned to the kids and it's like, is that understood? So his head is turned to Vanessa, and Vanessa behind him, nodding to the kids as a signal, like, go ahead and oblige him. Go ahead and appease his ego in the moment. Mm. Now, what this also lets me know is that Vanessa has learned some dark feminine ways. Particularly when it comes to the aspects of like making someone think that they're driving a boat, but the whole time it's you. uh, Puppet mastering, essentially. Okay, so here's what I want to point out about this exchange. Things that I noticed. Vanessa, both of them essentially are talking about convenience. That's basically what they're fighting for and prioritizing. It's a war of needs and desires here. Vanessa is going back and forth in with her habitual role as basically the parent over her kid, over child, over her kids, over her siblings, because that's been their dynamic all this time. They've been all they got. So Vanessa has essentially been their parent all this time. I've mentioned this, several times over the course of all the other episodes, and this is an episode where that concept really like what it is turns on his head, peaks. Where the chickens cross the street, the cows jump over the moon. Y'all know what I mean. So at the same time, it's all of this opportunity, as well as need for freedom, individuality, and the convenience of childhood. Bernie is struggling with his convenience as being basically the leader, the standout, the man, all of that everywhere he goes. And also, if we pinpoint, it's easy to lead if you're only leading yourself and your wife, who is also very independent, you know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't really been challenged for real. It's kind of he hasn't really been challenged as a leader for real, for real. He's influential, but that doesn't make you a leader. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You see? So all amongst that, you know, uh, get into his age. He's somewhere like late 30s, 40s, somewhere on his show, I think. And he don't have no kids, all he done had is his wife, who, like I said, is very self-sufficient. They're balanced in that way. So it's not like he's even parenting her or nothing like that. He pretty much is his own, he's been, what is the fucking word for it? He's been a team of his own, basically. He hasn't had to worry about keeping little beings alive and teaching them values and all of that, let alone having to make hella sacrifices and bend himself into a pretzel in all of these ways amongst having to pour into himself and keep the balance and all of that. He hasn't had to juggle all of those things. So, like I said, his leadership abilities and such has not really been challenged for real. So he is fighting for his habitual conveniences and freedoms and such, and it is um it is at war with his new role as a parent. So him having this thing about power, this adornment for power and the king's role and all of these things, but there's also a perceived convenience that a lot of people have, especially certain elders who think, oh, I'm the leader, so I dictate everything I say goes, period, just because I said it and you have to respect me because this is my title. So and trying to enact that, especially over kids who not only are not his own, but also haven't had any real, let alone healthy authority throughout their lives. They haven't had any real discipline or structure, anything of that nature. The bulk of it that they've gotten is really just trial and error, just teaching themselves and that's teaching the younger ones. And I believe they had their grandma at one point, and she nurtured and provided for them as she could, but lacking type shit. So they are again harder to impress and influence in certain ways. Meaning, like I said, he can't just say, do this, do that, and just expect them just to take it. He will have to have a lot of heart to hearts and stern talking tos and all of that good shit. And that's why Nessa was explaining to him all that wobble wobble, shake it, break it, okay, like a pit bull is not servicing you because they've experienced some semblance of that, like already. Like for one, they're desensitized to it in certain ways, amongst the fact that they are resistant to it. So they're defending themselves in a way that they know how, which is essentially through disobedience. And or running to Nessa for reassurance on, is this somebody that we should trust? Is this somebody that we should lead? Is this somebody that we should allow to guide us? Mhm. So, overall, essentially, too, with that said, they're looking for Vanessa to say that it's okay for them to be parented by Uncle Bernie. Amongst the fact, Vanessa's resistance to him and rebellion of him and all of that, granted, he plays a large role in it because he tries to handle everything with force. Um, so Vanessa's response to that sends a message, be it verbal or nonverbal, body language, all of that. It sends a message to the younger kids that that's the way that they should respond to him. You see, Vanessa's been their leader all this time. So it's very much so like, and that's where I get that term from. If y'all don't know what catch the flash means, if you ever seen a band, they may throw a four count, and this is the drum majors, the dancers. Now, when the dancers do it, it's more so called stands, but dancers also have flashes. Okay, so don't get flashes confused with stands. Flashes are like 2 to 4 counts usually, and it's a 2 to 4 count movement. And once you do it, the next couple of people, you're supposed to go one by one, and they do the exact same thing after you, exactly as you do it. And or depending on where you are in the lineup, you put your own flair to it. So that's what I mean by catch the flash. Vanessa throws that flash, and the kids catch it. And in their case, they put their extra stylization on it. They don't respond with the stumps, feet, roll, eyes, all of that shit. They do it in a more hijinky type of way. So yeah, all of that. That's why I also pointed out that when Bernie walked into the room, he had his bowl of snacks, whatever it was that he was going to be indulging in, as he indulged in some relaxation and watching his stories and everything. It was a part of him fighting for his convenience. It wasn't all about uh trying to instill structure and discipline and trying to instill actual respect for authority. It's a bit more to do with him trying to serve two masters, in which the masters are within. Trying to serve the master that is his habitual convenience, amongst serve the master that is having to be a parent now. And you're not going to always be able to have all of the conveniences and such, at least not in the way that you did before, now that children have come into play. At the same time, he should be able to have his alone time, solitude, relaxation, and all that when they go to bed. They do need to go to bed on time and learn to have and respect a regimen and have respect for also Uncle Bernie's boundaries and such. At the same time, more often than not, children catch the flash of the parents. They catch the flash of the leaders, meaning they do more of what you do than what you say. Especially if your method of communication is confusing or scary or mistrusting, they gonna block all of that out and just look at what you do and they gonna catch that flash. All right. So as a conclusion of that, Bernie knows that something wasn't right about the whole conclusion of the exchange. And he like, oh, Miracle, come on into my kingly quarters real quick. We got to have some intimate conversation. So we get on into his kingly quarters for this intimate conversation. As he said, very suspicious. Roll them cameras back. And they roll that beautiful being footage, and he sees the scandal, the hoodwink, the bamboozle of it all. And it's Nessa on tape, pulling the strings on him, pulling the strings on the everything, everything, everything. And he say, oh, no, no, no. Stick to the stuff I know. What? If you want to be cool, don't mess with the rules. Stick to the status quo. If you know, you know. And he is like, where are the roots? Where are the roots to the situation? And when was they planted? So we get a roll of that beautiful being footage, a whole montage of this puppeteering behavior going on. And I really love the commitment to the reality show stylization of this show, because that is very much so like a reality show. Like whether you're in a confessional or not, somebody can ask a question or say something that is like, what actually happened? What was that? Make a statement that triggers the editors to say, hey, we got the answers right here. Here's that footage. Here's that flashback. Here's that deleted scene. Okay, here's that hot mic. Yes. Love it. Love it. Yes, honey. So he goes and confronts her. She started playing dumb and nonchalant like she don't know Nathaniel. He said, cause see, I'm on your ass. And the little kids come on here. He said, hey, who got the authority around here? They looking back and forth and back and forth. Eyes shifting, back and forth. In a swift second, that girl Nelsa is some swift and slick, ain't she? She catch them right in the millisecond with their eyes watching her. And she give them that signal. And they go to fawning all over Bernie. Just to fawn all over him. Yes, you the king. You got the authority. You got the power. We worship the ground you walk on. And that's clearly double points added for Nelsa. Mm-mm-mm. That leads us back to a confessional with your guy. And he gives a very, what I feel like is a revealing analogy about sleigh dogs and how if you ain't the lead dog, the only thing in front you for the see is another dog's ass. Interesting. Interesting. I totally get the mindset. Yeah, you want to strive for the top. You want to strive for greatness. Ain't nothing wrong with it. At the same time, what this reveals to me is insecurities of power amongst extreme highs and lows. Extreme highs and lows. Just like when it comes to kings, presidents, all of that, anybody in leadership, captain, co-captain, lieutenant, section leader, shift leader, okay? All that. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, okay? 77793 11 6 3 4 5 7 8 9. My bacon smelling fine. It gives. You think that there are no chains of command. The only time there ain't no chains of command is when there's a dictatorship going on. So. We got some misunderstandings of what words mean around here. He is functioning with the mindset of dictatorship. Is what he failed to realize. Yeah, that dog is at the front. And all them other dogs, you know what I'm saying? They look up ahead and they just see another dog's ass, right? Howsoever, mine ain't like a dog. But for real, mine ain't like a dog. You ain't supposed to be. All right? You ain't supposed to be, but you can have some dog-like elements of understanding the concept of teamwork. All the dogs are leaders. And at the same time, the dogs also got to be led and conducted by the person that's riding that boy, by the person that's riding that sleigh. You see? That dog at the front can't hardly do shit for real, especially depending on how much weight is being pulled. That dog at the front still need them other dogs. And that dog need them exactly as they are in the positions that they is in. And they all got to respect each other's position in order to get to the position that they is transporting to. Okay. Can I get an amen? Now listen to me. Like I said, mine ain't like a dog. Dogs communicate through putting their head up other dog's ass. And what people fail to realize is that when you are so insecure in your position, when you are insecure in your position as man, you ends up not only sticking your head all up in other people's ass, trying to control what they do and how they do it exactly as they do it, not realizing them being you. I mean, them being them wouldn't allow you to be you. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for them being them, how could you be you? You feel me? If it wasn't for you being you, how could they be them? Y'all gotta come together. Y'all gotta come together, compromise, make work. Okay? But when you don't have that mindset, when you don't have that mentality, that belief system like talking about in yourself, it's hard for you to believe in somebody else, right? So like I said, you end up trying to micromanage somebody else. You got your head all up their ass. Next thing you know, your head is up your own ass and your ass is on your shoulders. Where they do that at? Because you don't understand that the leader still has to be led. As much as you want to be heard, you got to learn how to listen. Ooh, blue, scoop, and boogie. And so it's going to be some other elements that tie into these concepts of extreme highs and lows. And also how disrespectful you end up being when you don't understand chain of command and communicative teamwork. Which a lot of parents don't understand that they're still supposed to be learning from their kids. Yeah, your kids supposed to learn from you, but you're also supposed to be teaching your kids how to learn. And a part of that is also being willing to learn them and learn from them. And that's also very important to think about when it comes to his dynamic with Jordan, because remember what I said about him seeing him as the royal fool, you know, the court jester, and how that indicates that he don't take Jordan serious. So he's overlooking him in a multitude of ways. All this time, you could be learning a lot of shit from Jordan by being more interested in learning about him and the things that he's interested in. Now the next night, they at dinner, and Nessa has officially made the gymnastics team. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come flip for me. Yeah, come flip for me. Yeah, land on them feet, girl. Yeah. So, Wanda is making pork chops, and she got some brownies. The brownies cause a conflict. Because Jordan is immediately, no impulse control at all. Just, oh my gosh, brownie, like a Rayman raving rabbit. And so Nessa is about to head out to go. I think they got no, they had practice. So Nessa finna head to her first practice, and she gonna eat when she get home, and all of the celebratory things as far as her individuality is concerned, it's gonna continue once she make it big. Barney take this as an opportunity to make it hard, cause he want to put it on Vanessa to decide whether or not Jordan. Why am I finna call him Journey? Jordan, whether or not Jordan can have a brownie before dinner. I find this interesting because, well, with kids, I don't know, it's interesting because growing up, my sister always ate the sweet stuff first, but she still ate the rest of her food. And we ate vegetables, fruits, all this stuff. We have a very balanced sense of nutrition growing up, and still she would often eat her sweet stuff first and then eat the rest. And I've noticed some other people like that, including kids. So I don't really know. I don't know if that's a discipline thing or something, or what. I don't know if that's a real thing that you shouldn't have the sweets first because it'll ruin your dinner. I don't know. What y'all think about it? I don't know. Because also, honey, so let me explain what ends up happening. Nelson getting ready to run out. Bernie want to hold her up, talking about yes or no for Jordan. Nelson flip it, say, whatever your Uncle Bernie says, honey, whatever he says, he's always right. So Jordan vigorously ambushes Wanda. Mm-mm-mm. Now, once Nelson makes it back, and Wanda is trying to get the kids put to sleep and whatnot because they're supposed to be laying low at least for this one night, so that Nelson can have her sleep over her girls' time and all that to celebrate her officially getting on the team. And in the midst, Jordan is doing the most. He's talking crazy, keeps saying boobies just for the fuck of it. And Wanda's like, no more sugar for you before bed. Now, what would have made the difference between him having that brownie before his dinner versus after? I would assume that it would be worse if he ate it after because then that's later in the night and closest to when he's gonna go to bed, right? So maybe the brownie should have been a like intermission type snack or something, or an appetizer. Or something. Maybe she should have did um some like sweet, but maybe naturally sweet type of appetizer they can have, and then whip out the brownies for everybody else. Don't let them see the brownies. But they getting used to having kids in the house, so she wasn't thinking about how kids can get once they see sweet stuff, let alone a kid like Jordan. So yeah, dog. Transport on over into Nessa's room, and Bernie Mac is telling a story. It's supposed to be a scary story, right? And he's telling it in a way, but the story is very much so kind of like the My Wife and Kids episode where the kids are playing Make Me Laugh or Die, and so you have to make somebody laugh. They have to make each other laugh, or they have to quote unquote die, meaning they have to do some outrageous dare that is the symbolism for that. So yeah, and that's when they made it clear, eat the pie, and then Kyle was on a rampage. So the end of Bernie's story, he say something like, next time they'll think about eating my leftovers or whatever. And so the I wonder if he was trying to get him a forewarning, like, I got some leftovers in the kitchen right now from dinner. If any one of y'all so happen to tiptoe through the garden on into the kitchen trying to get a midnight snack, understand it'll be consequences and repercussions for anybody that touch my plate. You know how it be. But anyway, they are not impressed. And one of the girls say, and he's supposed to be a professional comedian. Mm. That cracks me up literally every time. But yeah, so they doing all of the things. Oh yeah, I forgot. I accidentally skipped one of his confessionals. It was the confessional that he had right after Nessa leaves to go to practice. And in that confessional, as soon as he's getting ready to talk, he gets strung up by a puppet master who is a giant version of Nessa. And what I want to point out about this is, of course, there's the obvious symbolism of puppet master, he's being puppeteered, all this good shit. Also, the fact that Nessa is made a giant, it parallels with his analogy about the sleigh dogs, that if someone else seems big to him, it makes him feel small. Let alone, I am wondering if there is like a gender war, like an undertone of gender war thing going on here, where like also because she's a girl, it makes him feel extra challenged and extra disrespected. So it makes him feel extra small that she is raising up so big like this. Something else in that scene, he says, "Hey, I'm black. You can at least have me dance on beat," which is funny as fuck. At the same time, I feel like it's also very intentional because remember me saying Bernie is, paralleling with Vanessa, with them having the wars and trying to serve two masters that are essentially within and being heavily influenced by their external circumstances. Bernie, the simplistic quote that could be used for what I explained about his habitualized convenience of living as a a childless man, let alone with a wife that is very self-sufficient herself. He's been dancing to the beat of his own drum all this time. He's been dancing to the beat of his own drum this whole time. So, on one hand, maybe Vanessa doesn't have him dancing off beat. She just has him dancing to the beat of her drum, and it's throwing him off. On another hand, he could just be thrown off because she's thrown him off the beat of his own drum. He's got to change the rhythm. He's got to alter the melodies. He's got to master the track. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tisk. What I also find interesting about that too, when you bring in the gender frequencies of it all, feminine energy is more feminine. I mean, feminine energy is more flexible and agile. And you can also tie that with the gymnast aspect and that symbolism, right? Also, the masculine energy is often considered to be more sturdy, more firm. So, you know how tend to go to parties or whatnot, or usually the quote unquote most masculine men tend to not really dance. They may like do hand movements, hit a little two step. You ever seen Snoop Dogg dance? They usually kind of, just do a little of that. Don't do a whole lot of actual dancing. But with the girls, like even if you think about performing artists like rappers, especially, there's that comparison of the men just get on stage, or even when the men do their videos, they don't really have to do much. They just get up there, do a little two step, and pump their arms, and it's just the bee's knees. Everybody go up. But if the girls get on stage and do that, folks gonna be like, "What is this? Like, what the fuck?" So no, like the girls got to get up there. They got to drop it, pop it, open your legs, stick your butt out, go on bank head, bounce from it, shout it, spin it around, throw it down, weeble, wobble, don't fall down. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got to be flexible and agile. Oh, they can't just get up there and even just do a little twerk type shit. They got to be twerking, they got to be flipping, they got to be splitting, they got to be bending themselves into a pretzel. Mm-hmm. Up there being a wacky, inflatable, wailing, flailing arm too, man, goddamn. Hmm. Things to think about. Now, back to the party. They finally get into the swing of everything. Real comfortable, real boy talk, nails talk, flippity, flippity, dippity talk, all types of talk. The girls talk about you all caught out there. Why you thinking that it's all about you, all right? The girls are talking. The girls are talking. As the girls are talking, Jordan comes on in a crashing of the party. Crashing the party like the raw fool he is. Coming up in there, jumping on the bed, talking about he want to get a truck, pointing his toys all out on the floor. Somebody gonna step on a Lego block and be ready to fight or something. Ain't nobody got time, honey. So then here come baby girl. Baby girl, she got stuff to say, things to talk about too. She wants to get into the midst of the conversation with the tea. And so baby girl, innocently just trying to relate, just trying to relate to the older girls and showing them admiration. She ends up lifting up her shirt, talking about, see, look, I got boobies too. She ain't got Nathaniel's little baby chest. It's all right. All right. And then Jordan, for whatever reason, I ain't gonna say for whatever reason. This is another instant where we talk about catching a flash. And this time it has very layered meaning. Now, there are some indications here. The fact that Jordan, there are different elements in different episodes how he does this, but Jordan also tends to follow behind baby girl also, which lets me know Jordan is used to being led by girls and or women. Ain't nothing, no nothing has to be wrong with it. It's just something that I noticed because he caught that flash. He caught that flash in more ways than one. All right, baby girl threw the flash of her flash, and he decided to catch the flash and flash them himself. He decided to show them his flashlight. All right, now Jordan must be sentenced to the timeout corner. He must be sent to the hole. Okay, he also needed to be given a stern talking to and probably an early childhood version of sexual misconduct training and things of that nature. Somebody, look what I got, sir, sir. So this, of course, changes the game and starts making everybody think way different and deeper about certain things that is going on. All right, they officially, and Wanda really has to be the mouthpiece on this and explain to them they finna have to really sit down and shut up somewhere and leave Vanessa and her friends alone. So they get that squared away, and right before they get officially squared away, when Wanda says they're gonna have to get somewhere and sit down and shut up and leave her alone, they look to Uncle Bernie for approval. And this is also where convenience energy comes in because they really don't want to do that. And so it's convenient for them to then look to Uncle Bernie, especially being the fact that Bernie has been, you could say, going back and forth in on his values because he been so busy competing with Vanessa. So in one minute, he's telling them leave Vanessa alone. In the next minute, he is encouraging them to go bother her just so he can retaliate and prove a point. Okay, causing confusion, causing loads of confusion. But child, they look to Uncle Bernie for finality of the sake, and he says yes. And it's a late Tim. Okay, we get another confessional where he's over there. You see that? I'm the lead dog, dog. Now, next couple days or so, Nessa comes home from school and practice, and she is clearly exhausted. What's so interesting about this is that it puts on my mind a message that has been channeling through a lot of the readings that I've been doing about God, Spirit, saying basically how they will exhaust you for the sake of waking you up. So they'll make you tired of one thing, make you tired of performing even in one way, so that you will wake up to the fact that you need to defend yourself. So an example of that would be Medea's family reunion, to be honest. A good example of that would be Medea's family reunion. Eventually, Lisa grew tired of performing through the abuse, performing, trying to cover up the bumps and the bruises, performing that she loved Carlos for real, performing that she wasn't scared of him, performing that she was excited for her marriage. And finally, she got tired of performing in all those ways. And child, grit ball. She grew exhausted of performing in all those other ways so she could wake up and beat that ass. So in this case, Vanessa has grown tired of trying to perform for her two internalized masters. All right. And then trying to perform and also combat an external master, which is Bernie, essentially. So growing tired of doing all of that performing and combating and this and that. And now she's got something else, which is the gymnastics and all of that, that is giving her something more to compare it to. It's requiring more of it, of energy that she actually wants to give. So once you find something new that you really want and you want to give all your energy to that, again, you become exhausted of all of the other things that you're performing for that really don't mean nothing to you. So, simply stated, Nessa is sick of the bullshit. And this exhaustion wakes her up to officially put her foot down with the kids. And it's like, look, leave me alone. I am exhausted. Get away from me. Go bother Uncle Bernie. Whatever he say, just get out of my face. So they go on ahead. And we get a montage of them, oh, child, being kids, the neediest of kids. Pull my finger, play with my dolls. Let's go outside. I want some snacks. I want this. I want to watch Barney. Let me ride your back. Can I ride your bike? Like the most. Now, that exhaustion has been transferred to Bernie, and he is in confessional, just exhausted, just numb, 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 numb. Some of them got on his nerves so bad, he ain't got no nerves to even feel no more. Highly felt, highly felt. And that's also what you get. In the next scene, uh, Nessa is in the kitchen, looking like she's trying to get her snack on a little bit, put some on her stomach, and she also is clearly tired, but you can tell she's not just tired from practice. She's tired because she feels tugged and pulled, and it's very interesting that you can feel a certain power being in control of many things, but then also feel like your power is being drained by those things, and it can really fuck your head up. And the fact that Nessa is a teenager, having those experiences and feelings that evoke experiences that evoke those feelings. That's unfortunate, and it's extra unfortunate. The scene kind of irritates me. It's also one that I can relate to very much. So is where like everybody is used to you being one way and always around and always just whatever it is that they expect you to be. And then when you start branching out and doing your own thing, just like you supported everybody else doing their own thing, they're like, oh my God, we don't see you. We miss you and this and that, da, da, da. But it's a whole lot of a lack of compassion for you, a lack of actual compassion for you. They just want what they want. You just want to see me and be around me, but you don't want to treat me right when I'm around. You don't want to be considerate to me when I'm around. Also, it's like one of those things too, because also a lot of times when Nessa is around, not really Wanda per se, but more so Bernie, it's a lot of making her the butts of jokes or making her the problem and all this and that. And it's like, what does Vanessa actually do for real that makes her so problematic and such a hassle? It really gives one of those kids that if you just leave her alone for the most part, she'll be all right. Show her some compassion, pour into her, support her, and also just leave her alone. Just take your hands off. She'll come around naturally. You know? And it's a whole lot of like concepts of boundaries and such. And I feel like Vanessa's boundaries are being ran all over, including and especially in the midst. And I don't think Wanda meant any harm, but it's just like this thing where little black girls amongst women, but specifically little black girls, emotions, let alone their childhood emotions and visions and desires and all of that, are often overlooked and disregarded like a motherfucker. And they're just expected to be the mammy. You Child, what's understood don't have to be explained. Go fishing, baby. But yeah, it's definitely a thing where the world is being put, it's already been put on Nessa's shoulders, and they're lacking the wherewithal and even the will in certain cases to actually have empathy and compassion for her. But they expect her to have empathy and compassion for everybody else. And she already naturally does that. And then y'all want more, and y'all also don't have any grace for her in the moments where she just simply don't want to be bothered, or she don't like your joke, or she don't understand why you're saying what you're saying. And she has rights to do and feel that way. So yeah, honey, that can be a whole video in itself. But like, yeah, child, y'all want her to be a little doll, And it's like too with the concepts of like the king and shit like that. And I've seen this in quite a few father daughter dynamics where the father takes absolutely everything the daughter does personal. If she don't like all his jokes, or if she not always allowing him access to her in every which way, allowing him to think for her, if she is interested in boys or goes to church, or something of the sort, in any way being taught or influenced by another man, or even being taught and influenced simply by herself, it becomes a problem. It becomes, oh, you're disrespectful, as opposed to they're an individual and they can love you and have their own mind all at the same time. Puppeteering is not a love language, but that's what y'all are teaching, right? Interesting. Interesting. So yeah, they tugging and pulling, honey, tugging and pulling, because Bernie comes in the midst talking about, Nessa, you're gonna have to make some time out to spend some time with your own kids and this and that, da, 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 da. And I can only imagine being in a child like Vanessa's position, where it's just like, bro, every time I look up, bro, what the fuck and why the fuck are y'all supposed to be the adults, but y'all keep trying to get me to do all of the adulting? Who gonna be the girls? Like, in other words, who gonna raise Nessa if Nessa gotta raise everybody, including the adults? Like, and it brings up, that's also why I have one of those stickers up there. It's the sticker that says balance, and it's a man laying down, and he's holding a woman up with her foot, and all at the same time, the woman is like, doing her own thing to keep her balance. And like that Beyonce lyric, lifting you up so you can be raised. A lot of parents think, like I've been pointing out, you got to use force, and you got to basically break them down and build them up. Like, no, lift them up, uplift them so they can be raised. Because at the rate y'all going, Nessa would be the type to fuck around and get pregnant as a teenager, or something like that, or be one of the ones that as soon as she leave the house and go to college, staying on campus and whatnot, she come back with a baby or something, or she be across the world somewhere with some crazy man beating on her and don't nobody know about it because she so out the frying pan into the fire, thinking it's better because at least she escaped, or she is too prideful because of image. She's too prideful to say anything to them because then what I'm saying, the tug of war of it all. Y'all know what I'm saying. But y'all, yeah. So Nelsa basically ended up lashing out at them like, what the hell? I got to do every motherfucking thing around here. Child, and she stormed off. Wanda zones in on Bernie and it's like, you really need to get your ass off your shoulders and look at this stuff from her perspective. She been raising them kids all of her life and has not had a real opportunity to be a kid for real. So why not, now that things have changed and things are shifting, think of some ways that we can, take a load off of her and allow her to just enjoy the rest of her childhood. And so this puts a bug in his ear. Like, he was kind of resistant at first, but he ends up hearing her out. So while Nessa is at her first gymnastics meet and doing a magnificent job, okay, on her Simone Biles shit, super proud of herself. Everybody else is super proud, big proud, energy. Trudy, you know what the business is. But she looks out into the crowd after the fact and she don't see none of her peoples out there, except her friends and A peoples and all of that shit. But none of her family is there. So she feeling sick to her stomach, like, damn, what the fuck? The fuck? Her friend and her mama, they give her a ride home. And when she get home, essentially she is not in the mood. She can't even really enjoy the fruits of her labor type shit. Cause, it was lonely at the top for her. She ain't had nobody to share it with. It's crazy. So she walk in and Bernie and Wanda is posted up on the couch. Bernie talking about, y'all must have lost. Really, sir? Really? Why would you say, like, if they did, why is that the way that you say it? Like, for real. I swear, older people, especially older men, At times they call themselves being lighthearted, but really they're making a mockery out of you. And they don't even seem to realize how much that is hurting your fucking feelings. And I think sometimes their intent is to be lighthearted about the situation, or maybe even get you to be lighthearted about it and kind of be able to laugh about it. But it's a time and a place and it's a way to go about everything. And certain shit is just not funny. Certain shit is just not funny. Child. So yeah. She like, no, we won. And they're like, oh, what's wrong? Da, 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 da. Like she was like, I looked up and y'all wasn't there. And they basically told her, well, that's your fault. You told us to leave you alone. That's another thing that irritates me about this episode. That's another thing that irritates me about this episode. Because y'all know goddamn well that girl was not telling y'all to just leave her alone, period. Don't ever talk to her again and like, blah, blah, blah. She asked for some space. She asked for some boundaries. She asked for some consideration, some compassion, some empathy. My God, today. Some space to fucking hear her own damn thoughts and just be. That's what she asked for. But that takes it back to that concept and theme of extreme highs and lows that also a lot of older people struggle with and have also poured into certain younger people, and it shows up in different ways. This thing of extreme highs and lows. If it's not all, it's nothing. If it's not now, it's not ever. If it's delayed, it's denied. Like, if it's not good, it's bad. And that's not how shit works. Just like what I was saying about Bernie's analogy. He was having his mindset like, if you're not at the top, you at the bottom. If you're not a master, you a slave. And that's not how shit works. That's not how shit works effectively, in a specific sense. Okay. Right. So transport on in, and also that's also a remnant of people habitually evading accountability. You don't want to take accountability for your disregard. You don't want to take accountability for the part that you're playing in the disconnect and in the annoyance and the irritation and the tension that is going on. So it's just always easier to say, well, oh, I only did this because you did that. I only did this because you did that. This only happened because you did that. Okay, so if one person is only taking all of the accountability, then that's the person with all the power, right? Because accountability is power. You build your power through having a good relationship with accountability. So that's what a lot of people don't realize also. You want to be a leader, but you don't want to be accountable. You don't want to look back and admit that a lot of shit that your followers are doing, even if it's something bad, is because of you. That's like a quote that I saw today with T.I., something that was quoted that T.I. allegedly said that he didn't approve or he didn't like that his sons were jumping in the midst of the beef between him and 50 Cent. And I'm like, you may look back and not like what you see, the things that you've led, the example that you've led. You looking back and you looking up and you seeing certain parts of yourself that you don't like. And instead of you accounting for that, you want to get mad and be self-righteous. Not saying that that's what T.I. was on, because I didn't like finish reading the whole article. I had just saw that part and it just really made me think like, I hope you're taking that in as like, you know, being introspective about it and not making yourself a victim to it, because how they responded is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of not only T.I., but also the examples that have been led in the hip hop industry overall. They're not only going by the leadership of T.I., they're also going off the leadership of 50 Cent and everybody else that's in the industry that they're so used to looking up and seeing their daddy on TV with. Because I'm pretty sure that because of the lifestyle of it all, growing up, they saw their daddy more on TV and more online than they did actually in real life. And I think even King said that for one, like he wasn't even really consistently living with them until and unless they were filming for the show. And that's not, you know what I'm saying, totally real. So again, not saying that the show wasn't real, but I'm saying you posture a certain way at certain times. There's no consistency. It's one thing to have duality and multidimensionality, but that's not what it's given. It's given extreme highs and lows. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah. All that said, honey, she rolls her eyes and she storms off. And they like, where you going? She like, I'm going to my room. They like, that ain't the way to your room. So they lead her to her new room, which used to be Bernie's weight room, his workout room. And she's overwhelmed. She starts crying. And they like, are you good? Well, Wanda peeps it and she like, look, I understand. I understand. Sometimes it can just, I'll just be a lot. Even if it's good, it can be overwhelming. And especially if you've been through so much bad shit and you ain't expect nothing good and then some good come through, you know? So Barney is like, somebody say something to you. Who asked I need to whoop? And Nessa is like, bruh, when I looked up and I seen everybody wasn't there, like, that shit made me feel horrible. And so they like, all right, look, we ain't gonna miss not another one, okay? We apologize. Every single meet that you have from this day forward, we're gonna be front and center right there. Which I think is cool how it played out. I just also, I don't like the types of surprises where you essentially break somebody down to build them up. That's not necessary. That is not necessary to surprise somebody. You don't have to make them feel low and like absolutely nobody cares and the stuff you did, that's why we didn't come and da 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 da, and then present them with it. Like y'all playing the fuck out of her emotions, and her emotions have already been through enough. Vanessa deserved for them to be forthcoming with her to go to the meet, and then after the meet be like, look, we apologize. We finna start we're gonna go ahead and put together you a room or da 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 da. Or even Bernie could have paid somebody to do that while they were at the meet. Bernie could have paid for somebody to arrange their room into a bedroom for her while they were at the meet. They didn't have to just not go to the meet. That was mean. That was mean and unnecessary. And that's just another thing that like irritates me about this episode. But just to go ahead and like wrap up how it ended and whatnot, they end up, of course, coming together with compassion and empathy and commiseration of it all. Vanessa likes the room. Bernie tells her, look, this is like the first time I feel like I could really relate to you, and I didn't handle it well at all. Instead, I rejected and dismissed and disregarded and all of that, and I apologize. Which I love. We love to see, especially older black men specifically apologizing. Older people in general, but especially older black men. Ain't no, you want some from the stove? No, apologize. Okay, account for your actions and your reactions. All right, yes. So he like, how you like your room? And she said, it's great. I see your phone, but I don't see no cable. So he in his confessional talking about, you see, mercy. A real king knows mercy, and he just let that be it. And I agree. A real king knows mercy, and that's what he learned. That's what he learned. This good old episode, child. And so, to officially say, even though the things that irritate me about this episode is quite realistic, and I understand why they put it there, because they used one family to show a variation of different scenarios of how this type of thing can go. Like I said, the nurturing, the force, the dismissive shit, the disregard, the disrespect, the boundaries, the breakdown, the build up, the breakdown, the puppeteering, the triangulation, all of the things. Because they could have just committed to one way of going about it, but somehow or another, and very well so, they found a way to put kind of 50 them different types of families handlings into this one family, into this one episode. And I feel like the message was very well gotten across. You need a little bit of everything for the sake of balance. And that is definitely what I feel like this episode is about. It has a lot to do with mastery and balance. Okay. And the mastery first requires mastery over self. You can't master others if you can't master yourself. And having mastery does not mean dictatorship. Essentially, it means to be able to juggle a bunch of different things, to stand on one leg, to do a flip, to leap, to do a split in the air, a spread eagle in the air, a toe touch, all of that, death drop, land on your feet, stick the landing, all of that. And that's definitely the gymnast agility symbolism that is also at play here. Gymnastics is dance and it's combined with, it has like some cheerleader elements to it. It has some I can't think of all the words, child, but y'all know what the fuck I'm saying. You get the heat, cuz. Like I said, true mastery requires stability and agility all at the same time. Juggling a bunch of different things, adapting to a bunch of different positions, and that stability, that balance, and all those things coming together. Again, you need a little bit of everything to help you land on your feet. Yes, honey. And with all that being said, Charlie, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this couch dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you feel synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back to these queenly quotas for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.